Even though the Trump administration might have placed a moratorium on tariffs for many trade partners to the United States for a period of 90 days, one big exclusion from that pause was China. And while the Walt Disney Company wrestles with how they respond to Epic Universe's opening this summer, Disney's over-reliance on imports from the Middle Kingdom may have just delayed the destruction of Jim Henson's final project. Let's talk about the Muppets possibly being saved by Trump and China here on That Part Plays.
It could delay MuppetVision3D's closing.
There you go, Culture. Marvin I literally just put this up before we went live right here. Could Trump tariffs delay MuppetVision3D closing? No construction walls up yet for Monsters Inc. attraction. Marvin, take it away.
Yeah, so we were supposed to see construction walls go up in the back of the Muppet Courtyard to start construction on the actual Monsters Incorporated attraction at the end of March. That was what Disney had said. Well, we are now, almost 2 weeks into April, and we got no construction walls going on. And part of that is probably the fact that China, as of yesterday, is facing 125% tariffs. And, Disney loves their China. They love their Chinese goods. They love their cheap Chinese labor. They love all the China. But, their over-reliance on China has now probably, come back to bite them and come back to, weirdly enough, it's so weird. Like, Trump himself might be saving Muppet Vision. Like, it's such a... crazy byproduct. I'm gonna save Muppet. I'm gonna save them from themselves, folks. we love Jim Henson. We love him. He's a great man.
We love the Muppets.
I hear he's doing great. I hear he's doing great things currently, but we're not gonna talk about that right now. We're not gonna let Disney
doing big things in his
legacy.
Can't let them sully the Muppets. All right. That's it's absolutely fantastic right there. Well, this comes from a report out of, interestingly, a blog. Mickey was the first one to discover, hey, wait a minute. These walls were supposed to be up way earlier, and they're not. And look, I always found it weird that they would put up construction walls for a coaster that is at the back half of this land so early in the front half of what is Muppet's Courtyard and so forth, because it's like, you could just build that coaster, then open it up, and then maybe do some final construction work on some of the facades out there and keep the Muppets. So the fact that this might be changing is very encouraging.
What would be more encouraging is if they didn't fill in mud and cement in Magic Kingdom for a dumb thing as well. This is a dumb thing. Look, you have one Muppets property next to a building that says, Monsters Inc., whatever, or the pathway or the roadway that takes you to Monsters Inc. There's zero reason to eliminate Muppets, right? You have a thing, Disney. There's no reason to tear down thing. You have a giant parking lot that you can build all this stuff in. So, but the fact that there are no construction walls, I think, is a good sign. They probably hit the pause button the minute that they saw that there was going to be some issues trying to get their Chinese steel instead of getting American steel, which much better deal for America. Maybe they'll be driven to get American steel. That'll push back the timetable on this. Maybe
Disney will be damned before they actually support American industry.
Well, darn it.
Yeah, it's a sad reality. Yes, that is the reality. You can see right here what Culture was referring to before, this being the Rivers of America project, which would see what a dirt track replace the amazing Rivers of America, that being foundational in Walt's day. You can see right here, this is the video that Imagineering themselves posted.
Dude,
I think you know what? Social media channels. Go ahead.
You know what? There's nothing about Liberty Square that screams Sedona to me, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. They went out into Sedona, Arizona. Is that right, Culture? And then
the area
went
around
on ATVs
Sedona.
and that did the research. How to figure out how to feel.
Hey, let's go rent some gators and have fun. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, and we're just gonna make basically test track outdoors. That's what this freaking thing is. It's not even the good Radiator Springs Racers attraction.
No. It's not. Radiator Springs Racers is absolutely incredible. Radiator Springs itself is great. And again, Culture, I think I agree with your assessment. If people knew what they were getting in terms of a replacement for Rivers of America, like Radiator Springs. I think a lot more people, look, not everybody was going to be happy about with that either, but I think a lot more people could kind of get behind like, okay, at least we're getting this. This is a black box, complete unknown. We have no idea what we're getting because whatever concept art Disney releases, we know we're not getting that.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a piece of garbage. It's just like, okay, so imagine this. In New Fantasyland, one of the centerpieces was supposed to be the Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster. That was supposed to be 2/3 longer than it ended up being. It was supposed to have 3 rooms. It doesn't. It was supposed to have several different stops and a nice story around what was going to be happening. Well, they got rid of the book report ride idea because some of the newer Imagineers are stupid. And so you ended up with a very short, not worth it roller coaster with a ride system that really wasn't fully exploited because Disney was terrified of having too much motion in those mine carts. Outside of that, you basically tore up the entire middle area of that, which you should have stuck it at the back and, adjacent to the stupid Little Mermaid thing, which is a beat for beat thing that they have in California. Nothing about New Fantasyland expanded the area other than the footpaths so they could claim more capacity and, bring in more guests. It's the same reason why they destroyed the hub at the Magic Kingdom. Everything they're doing here is just an expansion of capacity and a reduction of attractions and therefore reduction of maintenance. Except if you look at the history of Test Track and even Radiator Springs Racers, it takes them a very long time to dial in the ride system. And every time they change up the ride system or have the ride system do different things, they've got to dial it back in again. It's a serious problem. This is going to be a disaster. Guests are going to be angry. It's going to destroy sightlines and immersiveness. And it's basically taking one side of the park and eliminating interest in it.
I found that since this was announced, when I'm in the Magic Kingdom and I'm over in this area, I will always hear people saying like, "Oh, I can't believe they're getting rid of this." Like it's just I have not heard one single person other than the pixie duster of the pixie dusters who is like, this is a great idea. Oh, who cares about Rivers of America? We need to get the cars in there. Like I have not heard any people are excited about Villains Land, but Villains Land is not going to upset anything.
Yeah.
Yes, Villains Land, while highly anticipated, I think a lot of people have doubts that Disney can even deliver on that. But like
there's no way it looks like this. There's no way it looks like this.
See, that's the thing. And then, like you said, Marvin, it doesn't upset anything. It is portioned back behind Rivers of America, which it really should be behind Fantasyland, as Culture Casino has said multiple times on here. This is poorly placed, causing this Rivers of America project to be necessary in the minds of executives because they're thinking, well, we have to provide access to these to the path beyond Big Thunder, which, by the way, Beyond Big Thunder meant something very different to the minds of fans back in 2022 when it was originally announced.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.